Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So let's have a look at the 27th of December, the review. So first of all, I'm going to say something probably a bit stupid here, but Judicious Allen, I think they were trying to get that handicapped. Go and watch the ride from Adrian Heskin. He was not there to win that race, and they've all kind of fallen apart. The race has fallen apart in front of him, and he's won it. I think they were trying to get that horse handicapped, though. Very interesting going forward, to be honest, in the fact that I think they think it could be quite nice, and they wanted to run it in a very moderate maiden hurdle and get it beat, and they tried everything they could, but still couldn't get it beat because, the jockey didn't ask. The jockey hardly moved, and yet he come from fourth, I think, jumping the last, to go past all of those in front that were just standing still. It's not a good race, but Judicious Allen could have won that by a long, long way, in my opinion. So she's just interesting going forward to see what they do with that. Moving on to the beginner's chase, the race won by Marine Nationale. So Marine Nationale was very impressive over fences. Don't get me wrong, it was a very, very good performance. But he did go off 1-2. He was certainly entitled to do that. He didn't do anything more than I was expecting, to be honest. On the form, I think come Cheltenham, Facile Vega is going to be much better. Found a 50 might run. There's still a few others as well that you can't just go, oh, Marine Nationale will definitely win on the back of that. He didn't beat anything, but it was a very, very good round of jumping. First time up over fences, and he looks a better chaser than he is hurdler as well. Moving on to the 110 at Leopardstown, and this was one of the first races that you kind of saw a bit of a trend happening yesterday. You didn't want to be too far back. Dysart Dynamo was bizarrely given a new ride. I think Willie Mullins thought, I'm going to try and cover all bases here, and I'm going to have one that goes hard, I'm going to have one that sits out the back, I'm going to have one that just sits in the middle. He ran 4 out of the 5 in a grade 1, and I just think it was a bit pointless in the end, really. Captain Guinness was too far back, didn't pick up, and they pulled him up. Dysart Dynamo was too far back when he was going to get beat anyway. He fell at the last, but he was already beaten. And the only one, I think, Gentleman de May went too hard. Saint Oir wasn't good enough. Dino Blue was the only horse in the right place. In that he got a clear run through, or she got a clear run through, isn't it? Is it she, isn't it? Yeah, she got a clear run, had no issues, and was given a nice pacemaker in Gentleman de May. Of those going forward, Dysart Dynamo's got to go back to the front and try and make all the running, but he'll do that when he gets better going, I think. I think yesterday turned into a bit of a slog for a lot of horses and a bit of a mess for a lot of horses as well. I don't think Dino Blue has suggested that performance there wouldn't be going, oh, I really like her for the Champion Chase. She's going to end up back at the Mares Chase, isn't she? She won't end up. I don't think she'll end up in the Grand Annual. She'll be too high in the handicap now, and I don't think she'll end up in the Champion Chase. She'll end up in the Mares Chase over 2.5 mile. But it wasn't a race that really interested me. Sergino was a good winner at Kempton in the introductory juvenile hurdle, but look at the R figures of some of those. If we remember those figures from the previous video of the likes of Nürburgring and Carla Conti in the 150s, Sergino did not beat anything anywhere near that, nowhere near good enough to be challenging for a juvenile hurdle. Yes, Sergino was a good winner, but would need to be taking on better horses before I would even think about that. Be even thinking that Sergino is a Triumph hurdle winner. I think, like on debut, Cargès has probably ran better than what Sergino did here, winning at Kempton. The 145, again, we had the same sort of thing. Those that were too far back never got involved. Those that went forward or were relatively near the pace were the ones who were able to get home. The likes of Daddy Longlegs held up at the back, never involved. Westport Cove went forward but obviously was a massive outsider. Caldwell Potter, Predator's Gold were just in the right place, down memory lane, in the right place, and the best horse of those has won. You know, Daddy Longlegs had the potential to be better, but not from where he was ridden from. Caldwell Potter won the race impressively, won by 6.5 lengths, but I don't know how strong that race is going to work out, because it could work out to be really, really strong, but I would be taking it with a pinch of salt just because of how the races were run at Leopardstown. Moving on to the 155 at Kempton, this always annoys me. Who won the race? Master Chewy, as top rated, won a grade 2, and yet he got beat for us last time in a handicap. I mean, I know he only went a 4-6 that day, but I think we'd highlighted him at like 11-10. Went a 4-6, got beat by Alexa de Nuit. Really frustrating. I thought he was given a poor ride that day. I thought it was a better ride here. Much closer to Nickelback at a crucial time. And was all, he led 2 out. They didn't need to wait, whereas they tried to wait as long as possible at Newbury, and that did not work. Nickelback probably didn't frank the Hermes Hélène form, in the fact that he didn't get close enough to Master Chewy, wasn't able to win that. I think Nickelback might find that he's not quite good enough to beat these Southern Raiders. Moving on to the 220 at Leopardstown. Again, horses that came from the back were not able to get involved. Nuzret being one of those. I was quite keen on Nuzret yesterday. Travelled okay, didn't get involved. Definitely want to give him another chance when he gets possibly a bit better going. I thought it became heavier Leopardstown, and that did not suit Nuzret. I will give him one more chance, or another chance. The 230 at Kempton, this was frustrating for me as well. 2 horses that are both dropped nicely in the handicap, ran in a handicap. Good prize money for this handicap, 56 grand, 57 grand. These grade 2 limited handicaps are great because they do attract previous graded horses. Editor de Nube Negra, even the Alexa de Nuit, I think, had won a graded race before, hasn't he? Has he not won a grade 2? But I've highlighted both of them. Look, Editor de Gite, down £3 to 159. Could be interesting for a grand annual if he turned up off 155. He ran her off 159 and a 3 claimer, Nia Houlihan, so it was effectively running off 156, and he won the race. Frustrating. Back in second, Nube Negra. Another one. Nube Negra down £3 to 155. I actually put in this one similar to Nube Negra, in my opinion, with Gary Moore, hopefully seeing the potential if he's dropped a bit more. He wasn't. Nube Negra off 155. He ran off 155 and was only good enough for second. Could the handicapper drop him again? Maybe a couple of pounds? Then he could be interesting for the Grand Annual. Whereas I did say about Editor de Gite, 155, he could run them ragged. And I think he did run them ragged in this race here. Really annoying that they both ran in the same race. It might be that, Editor de Gite's now going to go up in the handicap. We've got to hope that Nube Negra might drop a couple, but I'm not sure in the fact that he's finished second. That might not be quite enough to drop him anymore. Looking at the 250 at the Welsh National, how impressive was Nassalam? He won that by miles. Are you meant to win a Welsh National that comfortably? It didn't fall apart, but horses, plenty of them didn't finish. Only 5 finish, and unfortunately Complete Unknown made a mistake, got home, but then sadly lost his life afterwards. But like the big breakaway, he was never travelling after the second fence, and then so many of these just faded away and dropped away. It clearly found out those. I mean, that was so impressive from Nassalam. He's got to be, if the handicapper's not too stupid, if he doesn't go mental with Nassalam, he could well be a Grand National type. And to be honest, I thought it's a great run from Iron Bridge as well. He's clearly bumped into one, but back over these types of trips, he's now finished second to Autonomous Cloud in a novice handicap, beaten ahead that day. They ran off, Iron Bridge ran off 137, Autonomous Cloud ran off 125, so there was £12 between them that day. Yesterday, there was Iron Bridge 142, Autonomous Cloud. There was still £12. So it should have been close again. Autonomous Cloud had come out and won this season already, suggesting that actually it's not a bad run from Iron Bridge, and he might be a horse for like the Midlands National, or maybe even the Scottish National. They won it with Major Dundee, or they win the Midlands National with Major Dundee. That could be where we see Iron Bridge in the future. But some of those in behind just really did not like that ground, did they? 3 o'clock at Leopardstown. There's a horse that I'm quite keen on here going forward. He's quite old. He's had plenty of experience, and he is. He shouldn't be. He's not improving, but he's potentially getting well handicapped now. And that was Real Still. As I said, with a lot of those races at Leopardstown, nothing picked up from the back, and yet Real Still did. He was able to pick up from behind. And if we actually look at his Cheltenham form, he finished 11th in an Albert Bartlett. But the fact that he ran in an Albert Bartlett, they thought it was Grade 1 company. This is when he was with Willie Mullins. He then finished 6th in a JLT. And then he also finished 6th in a Gold Cup when travelling like the winner when he came around the outside. He finished 6th behind Album Photo, Santini, Lost in Translation, Monolith, Delta Work. It was a good race. He's not been back to Cheltenham until 2 runs ago, when he finished 5th in a hurdle. I just think that was to see what they were like over hurdles. He then finished 3rd off 133 in the Paddy Power chase yesterday. If he comes over for that old teamer and gets in right near the bottom, I don't think he will be as far back. And the fact that he's travelled so well at Cheltenham before, he's very interesting if they've aimed him, or they're going to aim him now at the old teamer, in the fact that nothing picked up from behind. And if the handicapper drops him, or even leaves him off 133 and he turns up in England a little bit higher, he would definitely be interesting going forward. I mean, previous runs haven't been bad. He finished 4th to Mars Harper. He's finished 6th in a Munster National. He's not running badly. And it wasn't that long ago. It was the 27th. He actually won this race last year. So he'd won this race. He's now finished 3rd in it. I think this time they'll come over for Cheltenham for the old teamer. So he's very interesting, I think, going forward. And finally, the last one I want to talk about in the 309 at Kempton, one of our previous horses that we've been quite keen on. He is getting well handicapped. Is T Clipper. Went off favourite. He travelled nicely. He was there up until the second last when he made a mistake. I don't think he was going to beat Tweed Skirt when he made that mistake. I do think he would have probably held on for second. I'd be very interested in him going to Cheltenham. Find a race for him at Cheltenham. Cheltenham, or maybe Ascot if there's another one. I don't know what the races are at the moment. Wouldn't really want to see him at Sandown. Chepstow possibly. First and second at Chepstow. First and second at Chepstow even. So there's a few races that he could definitely be interested in off his current handicap mark. Maybe Kempton wasn't quite the right place for him. Had he won there, he'd won a novice hurdle there beating Chasamax, but he'd also finished 4th of 4 in a Calto Star. Well beaten by Brave Man's Game, Hoisinor and Kilteely Briggs. Maybe Kempton wasn't quite the right place for him. So there's a few thoughts from yesterday. Judis Allen is just something caught my eye about that race. I'm interested in to see where they go with him. Don't give up on Nusret. I think he deserves another chance. We'll have to keep an eye on the handicap mark of Nube Negra. Don't give up on Iron Bridge. I think he could be interesting for like a Midlands National. Definitely don't give up on Real Steel. I hope they end up in the old teamer with him. And T Clipper needs to find a race that he can run well at, Ascot or Chepstow or Cheltenham. So thanks for listening. We'll be back again with more reviews. And we've also got the handicap analysis from last week still to do.